everyone, and welcome back to the channel. If you clicked on this video, maybe you're planning a trip on your own, or maybe someone you love is, and you want to feel prepared. Not scared, prepared. There is a big difference, and that is exactly why I made this video. My name is Sarita, and I have been a flight attendant for 15 years. I have worked short domestic hops and 14-hour international flights. I have served passengers in their 20s and passengers in their 90s. And I can tell you with complete honesty, solo travelers over 60 are some of my favorite people on a plane. You are independent, you are adventurous, and you absolutely deserve to travel with confidence. But there are things the airline is not going to walk you through at check-in. Things I wish every solo senior traveler knew before they even got to the airport. Today, I am sharing 7 of them. Let's get into it. Let's start before you even get to the airport, with your seat. Most people just pick whatever is available, or they go straight for the window because they want to see the view. I totally understand that, but here is what most passengers over 60 don't realize. Your seat choice has real physical and practical consequences on a long flight, and I want you to choose wisely. Here is what we flight attendants know. The seats closest to the exits, particularly the rows right next to the main cabin door or over the wing, are actually not the best choice for older travelers, even though people assume they offer more legroom. Those seats come with restrictions. You may be asked to assist in an emergency. The armrests often don't lift, and in some configurations, the fold-down tray is awkward to reach. What I always recommend? An aisle seat in the first third of the cabin. Here's why. Closer to the front means you're off the plane faster. Less walking through a crowded aisle when your knees are stiff after a long flight. An aisle seat means you can get up to stretch, use the restroom, or flag one of us down without having to climb over strangers. That matters more than you might think after hour 3. And here's a tip I give my own mother. Request bulkhead seating if it's available. That's the row directly behind a wall or partition. You get extra legroom, nobody reclines into your space, and it's often quieter. You can request this when you book or call the airline directly and ask. Don't be shy about asking. That's what those phone lines are for. One more thing. If you have any hearing difficulty, try to avoid the very last rows near the engines. The noise back there can make it genuinely hard to hear announcements or communicate with crew. We want to be able to help you, and that starts with being able to hear each other clearly. This one is so important, and almost nobody does it. When you arrive at your gate, introduce yourself to the gate agent and tell them you are traveling solo. I know. You're thinking, Sarita, I've been taking care of myself for 60+ years. I don't need to announce myself. And you're right, you don't need to. But here is what happens when you do. Gate agents have tools and authority that most passengers don't know about. They can flag your boarding pass so that crew members are notified you're traveling alone. They can ensure you are pre-boarded, meaning you get on the plane before the rush, so you have time to settle in, stow your bag comfortably, and get oriented without feeling hurried or jostled. They can also make note of any assistance you might need on arrival. In my 15 years, I have seen so many passengers struggle to lift a carry-on into the overhead bin in a crowded aisle with people pressing behind them. And it didn't have to be that way. Pre-boarding solves that completely. You don't have to say anything complicated. Simply walk up and say, "I'm traveling solo today and I just want to make sure you know I'm here." That's it. A good gate agent will take it from there. And if you have any mobility considerations, a bad knee, a recent surgery, even just that you tire easily, mention it. There is no shame in this. Airlines have entire assistance programs built for exactly this situation, and they are free. This is one of the most important things I will say today, so please listen carefully. Never, ever put your medications in your checked luggage. I cannot tell you how many times I have seen this become a crisis mid-flight or at a destination. Bags get delayed. Bags get lost. And if your blood pressure medication, your heart medication, your insulin, whatever you take, is sitting in a bag in a different city, that is a medical emergency waiting to happen. Every single medication you take regularly needs to be in your carry-on bag, in its original labeled bottle or packaging. This also matters for customs when you travel internationally. Having properly labeled medications avoids complications at the border. Here's an extra tip the airline won't tell you. Bring more than you think you need. I always tell passengers to pack at least 3 extra days' worth of any prescription medication. Flights get canceled, weather happens, layovers extend. If you're stuck overnight in a connecting city and your medication runs out, getting an emergency refill in an unfamiliar place is stressful and sometimes impossible. Also, and this is something I've personally witnessed save someone's life, carry a written medication list. A simple index card with your medications, dosages, and your doctor's contact information. Tuck it in the front pocket of your bag. If something happens and you are unable to speak for yourself, that card tells us exactly what we need to know. It tells paramedics, it tells the ER, please do this. It takes 5 minutes and it matters more than I can say. Let me talk about something that surprises a lot of passengers. How the cabin environment affects your body, especially after 60. Here's the truth. Airplane cabins are pressurized, but not to sea level. They're typically pressurized to the equivalent of about 6,000 to 8,000 feet altitude. For most healthy adults, this is a non-issue. But for older travelers or anyone with heart conditions, respiratory issues, or circulation concerns, this can matter. What does this mean practically? A few things. First, hydration. The cabin air is extremely dry. Humidity is often below 20%, which is drier than most deserts. This dehydrates you faster than you realize. I always tell my passengers, drink water before you feel thirsty. By the time you're thirsty at altitude, you're already behind. Bring an empty water bottle through security and fill it at the gate. And please limit the alcohol and caffeine. Both are dehydrating and both hit harder at altitude than they do on the ground. Second, circulation. Sitting still for hours in a pressurized cabin increases the risk of blood clots, what doctors call deep vein thrombosis. This risk increases with age. My simple rule, get up and walk the aisle at least once every 90 minutes on a long flight. Do ankle circles in your seat. Wear compression socks. I wear them on every single flight, and I am on my feet for most of it. If your doctor has told you that you have any cardiovascular concerns, please consult them before your flight. Tell them the duration, the altitude, the layover situation. They may have specific advice for you, and you deserve to have that conversation before you board. This one is simple, inexpensive, and could genuinely save your life. Wear a medical ID bracelet or carry a medical ID card with your key health information. Blood type, critical conditions, allergies, and emergency contact. Here is what happens when a passenger becomes unwell on a flight. We flight attendants are trained in emergency first aid, but we are not doctors. We are working quickly, often in a small space with limited equipment. If you are unconscious or disoriented and cannot tell us what medications you take or whether you are allergic to something, those seconds matter. A medical ID bracelet is the first thing we check. Emergency responders check it too. It is standard protocol. I once had a passenger, a lovely woman traveling alone to visit her grandchildren, who had a diabetic episode mid-flight. Because she was wearing a medical bracelet that noted her condition and listed her emergency contact, we were able to respond correctly and have her family notified and waiting at the gate when we landed. She was okay. She told me afterward that her daughter had begged her to get that bracelet for years. She was so glad she finally did. You can find medical ID options at any pharmacy or online for very little cost. For the peace of mind it gives you, and the people who love you, it is absolutely worth it. I want to address something I observe on almost every single flight, and it genuinely bothers me. Older passengers are the least likely to press the call button, and I understand why. You don't want to be a bother. You've lived your whole life being self-sufficient. You don't want the whole cabin looking at you. But here is what I need you to hear from someone who does this for a living. That call button is there for you. Every passenger, equally. Pressing it does not make you difficult. It does not make you high maintenance. It is not an inconvenience. We flight attendants genuinely want to help you. It is not just our job. Most of us chose this career because we like people and we like being helpful. When you don't tell us you need something, we can't help you. And sometimes what feels like a small thing to ask, a cup of water, help opening a package, assistance getting something from the overhead bin, is the exact thing that would make your flight so much more comfortable. So here is your official permission. Press the button. Ask us for help. Tell us if you're feeling unwell, anxious, or confused about something. We are trained to handle all of it, and we are on your side. The only thing I ask is this: when you have a concern about something health-related, tell us as soon as it starts, not after it has been going on for an hour. Early information gives us more options. That is always true in any kind of emergency. The sooner we know, the more we can do. Last tip, and this one surprises people. Request wheelchair assistance even if you don't feel like you need it, especially in large airports. I know how that sounds, but let me explain what actually happens when you request airport wheelchair assistance. When you request it at booking or even at check-in, an airline employee meets you at the gate with a wheelchair and escorts you through the entire terminal, through connections, through customs, past security checkpoints. You don't wait in the long lines. You don't navigate the confusing signage in an unfamiliar airport. You don't walk what can sometimes be a literal mile between connecting gates. You are accompanied by someone who knows exactly where to go. The airports where I've seen solo seniors most overwhelmed are the huge international hubs. Think massive connecting airports where even young, frequent travelers get lost. In those places, wheelchair assistance isn't about physical need. It's about having a guide and an advocate. You are not taking that service away from anyone who needs it more. It is a service the airline provides, and you are entitled to use it. If walking is part of your independence and you want to walk, wonderful. But consider requesting it for the parts that are hardest, like a very long connection or customs. There is wisdom in knowing when to accept help. And after 15 years of watching passengers arrive exhausted, stressed, and overwhelmed, I promise you, the ones who accepted assistance arrived looking like they'd had a relaxing vacation already. So there you have it. 7 things I wish every solo traveler over 60 knew before they fly. Let me leave you with this. Traveling alone after 60 is not something to be nervous about. It is something to be proud of. You are out there, living your life, seeing the world, visiting the people you love. That is wonderful. And you deserve to do it with confidence and with every advantage available to you. Choose your seat wisely. Talk to the gate agent. Keep your medications in your carry-on. Take care of your body in the air. Wear your medical ID. Use that call button. And accept the help that is there for you. You've got this, and we've got you. If this video was helpful to you, I would love it if you subscribe to the channel. It really does help me keep making content like this. And drop a comment below. Where are you flying to next? I read every single one, and honestly, your travel stories make my day. Next week, I am talking about what really happens when a flight is overbooked and how to make sure you are not the one getting bumped. You'll want to see that one. Until then, safe travels, everyone. Take care of yourselves.